Bitcoin crashes to $54,000 as altcoins bleed out. The stock market is crashing. What the hell is happening here, folks? What is Jerome Powell and the Fed going to do? Are they going to come in and save us? Well, we got to talk about different facts and metrics and so forth, because is the bull market over? Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, I don't want to look at the coin market cap list, but I have to. It's pretty rough out there. It's a sea of red, a bloody market cap list here, with Bitcoin at 54,825 at the time of recording, Ethereum below $3,000 at $2,356, BNB at $456, Solana at $131, XRP at 48 cents, Toncoin at $5.60, Cardano at 31 cents. Ooh. This is painful to look at. But guys, we got to leave our emotions at the door and let's look at some facts. Let's see what's happening on the charts and what different metrics are telling us. Now, the other day, I shared with you guys the daily RSI and how you have to read that chart, where if it is at 70 or higher, it is in an overbought zone and expect a price correction. And likewise, if the RSI is below 30, it's in an oversold zone and you can expect a bounce in the price. So Bitcoin right now went below that 30 on the daily RSI, so we could see a bounce soon. The challenge is Bitcoin has been trying to break upwards for a long time and it's not getting the momentum because there's a variety of different factors, which I'm going to touch on. But let me share some other things for context. The stock market is bleeding as well. S&P 500 and NASDAQ, both of which had RSIs in the 70 zone and higher. Actually, they were up to 80. So these were due for a correction. And when in doubt, zoom out. We're still at higher highs and higher lows, folks. And that's the important thing, right? When in doubt, zoom out. Same thing for Bitcoin. There hasn't been any type of major invalidation for the bull market. So I believe, number one, we are still in a bull market. Now that could change. I'm not saying that it can't ever happen. Anything is possible. The question is always, what is the probability? Is it highly probable that we are still in a bull market, or is it highly probable that this is it? It's the end. I'd say it's on the highly probable that we are in a bull market, and there's different metrics that are showing that we are still there. So the DXY continues to crash downwards. That's a good sign for risk assets. And like I said, Bitcoin is at that oversold zone, so we can see a bounce pretty soon. In addition, the market has turned fearful. Bitcoin fear and greed index is at a 26. So this could be a final flush out before we see a bounce upwards. And for some perspective, guys, look at this. The price of Bitcoin trading in August of 2023 was $29,258. And right now, obviously, it's 54,000. We're still up. So that's my point. Ethereum is still up. Solana is still up. So we have to be patient and let these things play out. In addition, the Pi cycle top indicator has not crossed yet, guys. And this has been spot on historically. So let's see what happens here. I was tweeting out earlier today that potentially Bitcoin could be playing out like it did in 2013, 2014. If you go back on the Bitcoin chart and you look at it, the 2013, 2014 cycle, there was a huge spike up, guys, and then a huge correction downwards. But then Bitcoin kept moving sideways and chopping, and then it had some big dumps along the way, and then it did a parabolic move to new all-time highs. Something similar could be happening here because we had an incredible run up, a very sharp run up with the ETF buying, right? Bitcoin was ahead of schedule. It hit a new all-time high before the halving. So I feel that type of situation is happening here. I could be wrong. Bitcoin could, over the next week just rally insanely and then disprove that theory. But we have to go with the facts and based on what we're seeing here and try to form a thesis, because we don't want to use our emotions. So based on how things have moved historically, that could be playing out here. And this is just some really big cool down after a really big surge with that ETF buying earlier this year. So we'll have to wait and see. But some of the other factors I've been sharing with you guys, and actually there's some new info here. China's M2 money supply just broke out. It's increasing. The other day, I shared with you guys the US M2 money supply straight from the Federal Reserve's website. And you see here it's back over $21 trillion as of June. So there's been a lot of liquidity being injected by the Treasury. Janet Yellen is doing stealth QE, quantitative easing 2.0. And I think the Fed is going to have to cut rates possibly earlier than September because the markets are tanking here. It's an election year. So we've been talking about this for a long time. Any sitting president wants the stock market to look good come the election, especially if they're up for re-election. We know the situation's a bit different with Kamala Harris, of course, but the Democrats want to maintain power. So expect that the Fed will be influenced to cut rates sooner than later, especially as we're seeing the job numbers tank and the employment numbers tank as well. So we could see Janet Yellen continue to inject liquidity and the Fed possibly this month come on and say we're cutting rates, which I think the markets will rally off that news. But at the end of the day, though, it's funny how these things all work together and there's narratives out there. And there's a bunch of analysts highlighting that, for example, there was CME gaps that needed to be filled. So it's funny how these things line up, right? And it looks like they're going to be filled because Bitcoin went down to 54K. So there it is. In addition, some other analysts are highlighting that August and September, for the most part, are not great performance months. The best performing months are actually October and November. And then, you do have earlier in the year, such as February, March, April. But right now during the summer, I think I've said it to you guys, people say like sell in May and go away because the summer months is usually not much happening, not a lot of liquidity and so forth. What's also driving a ton of sell pressure is Jump Crypto moves hundreds of millions in crypto as the price slides. So apparently they've been dumping Bitcoin and ETH and so forth. Even Jerome Powell, macro investor, tweeted out, question, does anyone have any further info on the rumor that Jump Trading has been liquidating their crypto portfolios? So I don't know what the hell is going on with Jump, but there's your sell pressure. There has been some outflow from the Bitcoin ETFs as well. But what we saw in conjunction with this is that BlackRock was still buying. Their wallet still showed crypto coming into their respective funds. So guys, at this point, you know what I'm doing? Not financial or investment advice. I'm not looking at the price as often. I am taking mental health breaks, right? Because it sucks to see your portfolio down, even though I'm up from the bear market bottom. Don't get me wrong. I'm in the profit right now, but it sucks to see these crashes. And this is the volatility that crypto has, but it allows you to make money. Once you understand the volatility is your friend. I'm looking for buying opportunities, not financial advice. Please do your own research, okay? I'm not telling you to go and buy anything, but I'm going to look to load up on some more altcoins as they bleed out and get ready for Bitcoin to find its bottom and then start moving upwards again, guys. We've seen this story time and time again. Last summer, in fact, in August, there was a big dump as well. If you go back and look at the charts, and it wasn't until October that things started moving. So be prepared, my friends, that this thing could just stay down here and chop sideways before we see a move upwards. And maybe it comes sooner if the Fed cuts rates sooner, but just be prepared, guys, and step away. Go enjoy your summer, right? So that's what I do. So I maintain my mental health when it comes to markets and so forth, because watching too much of this, the bleeding out of your profits, it's not fun. Once again, I'm not worried. I'm not panicking. I've learned my lesson over the years to not focus on it. As long as I'm looking at the appropriate metrics and seeing that there are multiple metrics saying we are still in the bull market and it hasn't been invalidated, and there are macro factors like money supply and global liquidity that's on the rise, then my mind is at ease. And I'm basing my thesis and my perspective on those facts, not my emotions, not what the headlines say. So, guys, that's my take on it. And on my hope, once again, because Bitcoin is hitting that oversold zone, that we see some sort of bounce and relief here. But I'm not expecting a surge to new all-time highs unless the Fed and Jerome Powell come out and say, hey, we're doing these cuts. We're cutting by 100 basis points or something, right? We'll see. I'm just throwing ideas out there, but once again, based on the facts and different metrics I showed you guys here, I think we're fine. Bull market still continues, but a lot of volatility, similar to what we saw in last summer. All right, guys, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to my free email newsletter on Substack. Also, grab a copy of my book, Rethinking Crypto, on Amazon. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.